Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. So today's video, we are going to see if we can get the beet chopper out. It's that time of year where it's going to have to be pulled out. It hasn't been used since last year, and we've got some stuff to move to get it even at it. It's kind of hidden at the back behind, I think it's in this corner here. We'll see now in a second. There it is there. So it's in at the back of this trailer. We're going to have to move. There's a stone fork in there, and there is also the heaver forward press. It's going to be moved out of there as well. So fun and games of moving all this and getting it out of the way. We are very, very low on spuds. We are very, very low on carrots, and we're collecting a load of beet today. So yeah, it's the hardest I've ever seen it to get potatoes. Usually you might have dry spells for certain times of the year where you mightn't get them, and then they'll come on stream again and you'll get some. You can't get them. There's numerous reasons for that. One, the yields were down last year with the weather. Potato growers couldn't get their potatoes dug with the weather. Some potatoes have never been dug. You know, there's just numerous reasons. Plus also there's other openings for rubbish potatoes now, other than just selling them on for cattle feed, which was at one stage the only outlet for them. Now they can run them through a process and take the starch out of them, and the starch can go then and be used for other things. So yeah, there's other options for them, and in a year like this when there's less of them around, that's the way it is. You're going to get it harder to get them. So we did start feeding carrots, but the carrots are hard to get at the minute as well. So we're moving on to the beet. We're going to have to get the beet chopper out. It should be working okay. We just have to grease up. There's 2 bearings in it to grease up, and the drive shaft to be greased up, so it shouldn't take that much to get it going. The plan is going to move the stuff out of the way now. We'll get the beet chopper pulled out. I'm going to put the beet chopper somewhere along here with the David Brown on it, and there's a couple of gates there. We'll move them out of the way and we'll tip the beet when it comes in this corner. Now this is kind of a green corner here. There's just stuff parked in it all the time. It needs washed. Haven't washed it. We've had 2 dry days now in a row, which is basically the first dry weather we've had, and the fact that has come, it's actually starting to, you can see it was just now wet green. It's starting to dry up a little bit, but the fact that we're going to be chopping a bit of beet now for a number of weeks here, it just means that there's no point in washing or cleaning it down at the minute. We can do that a little bit later in the springtime. So that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to do that. We'll be doing an update on the cattle, how things is going with them, as in the beef cattle. Might get a bit of footage of feeding them, and we also have started calving. Calving season has started. We've some calves born over the last number of days, and I'm going to show you those as well. So a bit of a mix of different things going on, and we'll take it from there. got that moved pretty easily. The only things we have to move now is that gate. I'll leave it sitting there. That's a dividing gate for the shed here behind me. These two gates here are two just spare field gates that we have. They've been there for a couple of years. We haven't had to use them yet. But what I'm going to do with those is I'll slide them down. I'll put the 3 gates there just together and try and start the beet chopper. Get the beet chopper in the position that it's roughly around this point here. That timber, we can slide it down as well. And then the David Brown, we'll park it here at this point. And it should just about leave enough room, I think, then for us to get in and get the beet tipped in behind the beet chopper in the corner. So we'll see. Hopefully there's enough space and it'll work out. I think it will. So we'll slide these gates down and we'll start then and slide the beet chopper out and get it into position. It should slide out pretty easily there from where it is. The only thing I see, there's an old gate there that isn't used anymore, and it looks like it has blew over against it, so I might have to just fix it and save it from falling down on top of the old rice horse box. So yeah, we'll do something with that as well. Alright, so I'll do a voiceover in this part of the video rather than adding in the music, because I know not everyone's a fan of the music that I use. Some people are, some aren't, but you can't please everybody, I suppose. Yeah, so whilst I was getting everything ready for the beet and getting the chopper all set up, Dad was away collecting said load of beet. And yeah, I'm just going to tip it now and see does it fit in place. What was I going to say? The teleporter footage. It's doubled up in speed. I know you probably noticed that, but just to mention that, case anyone's thinking I'm just driving like a lunatic around the yard, which I do sometimes, but on this occasion it was all doubled up in speed. The footage was a lot longer than what I had remembered. The other thing is, I look like a homeless person at the minute because I haven't shaved or cut my hair since like November, due to about 3 or 4 different bouts of flu that I've had over the last, really since I came back from America. So I'm not sure whether I got COVID in America or what the story was, but I've been very susceptible to different sicknesses since I came back, and I didn't want cutting my hair and exposing myself to getting sick again, which hasn't really made any difference because I've continued to get sick anyway. I don't know if anybody else is seems to be continuously getting sick this winter, but yeah, it just seems to be happening at the minute. I have a cough at the minute I haven't been able to shake off for about 4 weeks. So that's why I kind of look homeless at the minute with all the hair all over the place. So just in case anybody's wondering why I look rough and homeless, that is the reason why. So back to tipping the load now that I've gotten that out of the way. I wasn't sure if there was going to be enough space, but there just about is. I give the trailer a wee bit of a chuck there just to make sure that the beet all kind of comes out in the corner and isn't spread down the yard. And yeah, it tips out fairly well. I wasn't sure on the tail though whether it was going to clear the yard, the yard wall. So this is why I give the wee chuck to move forward. But no problem at all. Just couldn't have fitted any better, and it just opened. There's just enough of an opening there to get in between the horse box and the beet chopper to tip it. So it has fitted in fairly well. So that is it. I drive up the yard, we hook off the trailer, and the next part of the video is chopping some beet. So chopper all set up, walking away, no problems at all. Just give it a good greasing, and yeah, walking 100%. You seen the first bits of beet that went through it, just as we were going to chop it. Beef cattle, haven't had an update on them in quite a while, but they're doing well. On full feed, we haven't slaughtered any yet. And they're on full of the pipe feed for the last few months, and they're doing well. There's plenty of bullocks here, and we will be slaughtering probably 6 or 7 this week out of that. But yeah, they are coming well. It's mostly these we picked out a selection of blacks that we're going to send to the factory this week and to see how they do. But overall, all doing very well. It's kind of bulls there. They are quite settled at the minute. It's just not feeding time yet. It is the next day, by the way. I've done that chopping yesterday, and and fed them yesterday, but it is getting be feeding now in about an hour or so. But you can see the cattle are all quite relaxed and taking it handy there at the minute, enjoying the lovely sunshine we have, which you can't blame them for doing that. But yeah, they're doing well. A lot of these cattle here in this pen are our own reared animals here on the farm. More bulls over this side. Again, the sun was just starting to get up and they see me walking around. There's a guy in the back there, looks well relaxed, the Charlie. But haven't weighed any of them, but they're doing well. We're happy with how they're doing, and we will have a lot of cattle fit over the next month or so. We'll have a lot of cattle going, so we'll see. Hopefully the price holds up. I did hear that factories are pulling price a little bit this week, and I think they probably plan to over the next couple of weeks, which is always normal. It's always those kind of games, but cattle numbers aren't there. I don't expect them to fall very much. If anything, I would expect that they'll try and pull them back a little bit and then they'll go back up again. So yeah, it is it's part of the game. It's all part of the game. So that's this shed. We'll have a quick look in the other shed now as well. Just before we go up to the other shed, just to show you very quickly, tank here is almost full. You can see it's just bubbling up. There's a bit of froth on it. So we have 4 tanks that are pretty much the same as that, all full up. 2 here, there's 1 in the shed here that we're going to get in a second, and 1 up the very top. So we're hopefully going to get some slurry out next week. We have been holding off. Ground conditions haven't been great, so we've been holding off. I put out 4 loads about 3 weeks ago, just to relieve pressure on a tank over there. So and that did that. We got away with it well enough, but now all the tanks are starting to fill up. So it's just at that point where, look, at the same year we usually start getting slurry out and grazing ground anyway. So that's what we hopefully will do. We've had 2 good days, great drying, and the forecast is to be good till about the middle of next week. So maybe ground conditions will improve enough, we'll be able to start getting slurry out. They should do. So that'll be great. This time last year we had a great dry spell in February, if you remember, and then it just went to the dogs after that. It started raining in early enough March, and it stayed raining then for about 3 months. So hopefully it's a little bit backwards this time. We've had a wet February, and then hopefully now it's going to dry up. We'll have a lovely dry March. It'll be just ideal. We'll be able to get a lot of the spring work done in good conditions, and I think we deserve that after the last couple of years we've had weather-wise. So anyway, up to the other shed. Alright, so up to the other shed, and in this shed we have 2 pens of heifers, which they've only really been moved up onto full feed over probably the last month or so. They're starting to get a bit of maize meal and starting to just be pushed on a little bit, but they're coming well too. Some of them now, there is a few small ones through it, and that's one of the reasons why we didn't push them very early, because we were just letting them grow on a bit. But yeah, they're just at the point now we've upped the feed on them as well, and time to get them pushed on and get them finished as well. But yeah, 2 good pens of heifers. Again, some of those are our own reared calves here born on the farm, and there's a few cows then mixed through it then as well. You see there's 2 cows there which proved not to be in calf or are down for culling for one reason or another, bad milk, bad feet. So that is those. We also have a pen of in-calf cows here, so all they get is just silage along here. These here are the ones that are furthest off from calving. So we have space over in the other shed obviously for about, well, you could put probably 30, be a tight squeeze, but we generally try to keep it around either 24 or 27 in the 3 pens. It's actually it's a 24 at the minute, but yeah, these here, the ones that's over in the 24 that's over in the main calving shed, are all the ones going to all calve first, supposedly anyway, on their scanning dates. So yeah, that is those. And then in here a bit of a mix. There's a little bit of everything. Some cull cows, there's one of them there, there's another one in the back. There's some heifers, there's some bullocks, So yeah, just a little bit of a mix of everything in here. There's actually, I think he's a bull. There could be a couple of bulls mixed in through it as well, smaller bulls. But yeah, it's just kind of a mix of everything, and they're all on the finishing ration as well. So yeah, that's another pen of finishing stock. So that is them. We go across and we'll see. We have very little calved yet, but we'll go across and have a look at those now as well. Alright, so over to the calving shed, and we have, well, firstly, it's all set up from the last time we probably would have seen it. All the pens is all set up, and we have a few cows that have calved too. Last Sunday, so a week tomorrow, the Charlie limousine that's laying on the ground, she had twins, one of which is just there behind her, and the other one, I don't know if you already can see him just with the sun on that, he's actually gone in through the calving gate. He's been sitting in the back. He's come back into his own side. They were in the back, but we've moved them out to the front this morning, so he's went back in there of his own accord. But yeah, she calved on her own, no issues, and yeah, two nice calves. The biggest one is actually the one that's on the ground in the back. So they're a bull and a heifer. So that was last Sunday. Then on Monday, one of the 4 heifers, we have 4 whitehead heifers that all look pretty much the same, and she calved on Monday. Lovely Charlie cross calf, and yeah, heifer. So it's a lovely big lump of a calf. So yeah, very happy with her as well. And she took pretty much, well, no, I wouldn't just say straight away. Calf was going in and trying to drink her. She was kicking a little bit. She just wasn't sure what was going on, her being a first timer. So we had to trap her head, and the usual, just trap her head and put her in and get the calf drinking. She was kicking a little bit, but she come from that, and she has clicked into motherhood very, very well. She's a great mother, and lots of milk, which is great. So yeah, that is all. But we've had no more calves born since. I thought once this started last week that they may have tipped on and started the calve away, but there's a bit of a ceasefire on calving at the minute. There is a lot of cows all due to calve together, especially these ones here. These are all the first of them, as I said earlier. But yeah, they will. They'll start calving. We'll probably end up with 3 or 4 calving in the one day for a few days in a row, and that's kind of stuff going on. That usually happens. The reason why that it's compressed together, the calving a little bit, we usually would have a lot of calves born at this stage in January and even into February. We'd be in calving usually, but the last 2 years we've stalled putting the bull with the cows a little bit later both years. One, to compress the calving a little bit, but main reason is just with the way the weather has been, and bad weather in the early part of the year, not being able to get cows out and calves out to grass is always an issue. So we were hoping that by stalling it and having the calves a little bit later, the weather will be a bit better, we get them outside. So we done that last year, and we've done it again this year. So we'll have a lot of cows. We'll probably be very busy calving for a while, for a number of weeks. But hopefully the weather will be good and we can get them out. Our problem is we haven't got the space to calve. We've roughly, it's just under 50 cows to calve, and we haven't got space for 50 inside if they all calve. So, and the weather's bad. We have space for probably 27. So that's the idea in pushing it on. But yeah, nice to have a few calved, and hopefully they keep going. Now some more born this week, and we get the numbers up a wee bit.